The world is in a mess right now, it really is. There's so much going on, and it is so difficult to discover what the truth is from any quarter. All we get is hatred from our media, all we get is hatred from our world leaders. And it's just gotten to a ridiculous degree.
Imagine Alex ain't crazy. Don your tinfoil beret. The elites rule above us. The friggin' frogs are turning gay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Won't you fight for your life? Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. I don't like them frogs. Gay. Friggin' frogs. Frogs. Friggin' frog crap. Won't you fight the frogs? It's not funny. I'm gonna say it real slow for you. Frogs.
Imagine the globalists gay bombing the world trip. Imagine there's no commies LARPing against old Uncle Sam. No one to douse you in fox piss if you dare insult Islam.
It's just a whole bunch of angry people on the television telling us angry things and being angry and encouraging us to get angry as well. Of course, a lot of this is to pit the Muslim world and the Christian world against each other. A lot of people haven't figured out that ISIS isn't Islamic, but that's another story. And there's so much going on. There's false flags and there's buildings burning down, and nobody even knows what the truth is anymore. All we do is argue about the details over whether something was staged or whether something wasn't. And all of it just continually promotes a war of East against West. And meanwhile, the bombs keep going off in the Middle East. I guess bombs are pretty for some people if you're the sort of person that likes killing people, but not so pretty really if you're a child living inside the war zone and you're trying to have a life like anybody else, just hanging out with your friends, and suddenly you get bombed and have to run off to shelter. But we don't hear anything about it from the media. All we hear is rhetoric and hatred, and it comes from both sides. It doesn't matter which side you listen to. It even comes from the independent media. It's just that the mainstream is always doing it, and it's gotten to the point that it doesn't matter where you turn. It just seems that it's hatred on repeat, and on repeat. But here's the thing. While all this is going on, beneath all of that is this 5G network which is rolling out, and 5G is really the elephant in the living room that no one is paying attention to. Well, some people are paying attention to it, but I don't think enough people are giving it the attention it deserves. And when you look at 5G, folks, I mean, it's being rolled out this year. You can look it up on any websites and you can see it's being rolled out this year, upgrading to 5th generation communications. And what it's all about, folks, is a completely new type of communication. Self-driving cars, all sorts of stuff can come from the 5G network. So it's being promoted as something that's very, very good. And as you can see, they're trialling it this year. 5G is coming this year, with the first official launches will come in 2018. And it's coming from all directions, folks. Many people are promoting it, and it's being promoted as a very good thing. You know, what is it and when do I get it? You know, the language of a billion things is what it's about. It's about the Internet of Things. That's what 5G is. And if you look at the roadmap, you can see the roadmap here, 2015 to 2022. That's not very far away, folks. They're talking about rolling this out very, very quickly, very soon. And it's all being promoted as something very good for business. But when you really look into it, And look at what they're saying again. It's about the Internet of Things. And what exactly is the Internet of Things? It's about everything talking to everything else. Now, broadband experience everywhere, anytime, smart vehicles, smart transport, smart infrastructure. You know, together we can make it a reality. You know, it's all being promoted as something very, very good. And what will happen in the next 5 years, oh look, you'll be able to download full-length, high-definition movies in seconds. I thought it was illegal to download a movie. But anyway, this is how things are being promoted. This is how it's being promoted to the public. And what it's really all about, folks, is this. This is the important thing. Frequencies that have been used by the military, this is extremely important. You know, it uses a millimeter wave, which can be extremely dangerous to all living things and not just people. You can look at the US non-lethal weapons program, and they talk about active denial systems. This is what 5G is all about. And this active denial grid is being put in all of our countries, all of our towns. This is what they're rolling out, folks. You can look at it here in 2015. US wants spectrum for 5G lethal cyber weapons, right? So it's about mass surveillance and about weaponizing the airwaves. Really, that's what it's heading to. And the studies on it are amazing. There's all sorts of studies, but they're not interested in the studies. That's the thing. This is being rolled out without any studies. They're doing it basically because there's a lot of money involved in rolling it out. Have a listen to what the head of the FCC has to say about 5G and what it's going to do.
Turning innovators loose is far preferable to expecting committees and regulators to define the future. We won't wait for the standards. Verizon and AT&T tell us they'll begin deploying 5G trials in 2017, and the first commercial deployments they're talking about are expected in 2020. And we're not done. If something can be connected, it will be connected. Hundreds of billions of microchips connected in products from pill bottles to plant waterers. We must reject the notion that the 5G future will be the sole provenance of urban areas. The 5G revolution will touch all corners of our country. A lot more antenna siting decisions by local governments and tightened our shot clock for siting application reviews. America's local governments will play an important role in determining how we fulfill this national priority. You can be sure of only one thing. The biggest Internet of Things application has yet to be imagined.
So when you think about all that, folks, that's not a very comforting scenario. It's really not. And when you look at the effects that this has on the immune system, on the heart, on all sorts of things, folks, effects on plant growth, and you forget about having organic food once you've got the 5G system installed, because it's going to change all of this food. It's going to change the cell structure of all of this food. Now, the Internet of Things is far more concern than people might think at first glance, because it isn't just your fridge and your smart toaster and your smart television and your smartphone. It's also your computer, your microphone, your camera on your computer. It's also the surveillance system that we are all installing in our homes by getting these new computer systems. Something else the 5G grid can do is it can see through walls, it can see through houses, it can see what you're carrying along the street, it can see if you're carrying money, it may be able to tell if you're carrying a weapon. And if you are carrying a weapon, it can disable you with a millimeter wave, or it can even perhaps send a signal to a drone and have you targeted from the air. All of this is capable through the 5G system. It's also possible to take control of vehicles with computers in them. It's an all-encompassing system. And this is not just being used for communication. This is being used for surveillance and control. As the man said, no one has yet envisaged the possible applications for this technology. What this whole system is leading towards, folks, is complete digital control of everybody and a merging of human beings with AI. And when you look at Elon Musk and some of the stuff he's been putting out, he's saying that it is necessary for us to merge with AI. It's going to be the only way to save us against AI completely taking over. And he's saying this needs to be done through a neural net. And listen to this.
So I think if we can effectively merge with AI by improving that the neural link between your cortex and your digital extension of yourself, which already, like I said, already exists, just has a bandwidth issue. And then effectively, you become an AI human symbiote, and if that then is widespread with anyone who wants it can have it, then we solve the control problem as well. We don't have to worry about some sort of evil dictator AI, because kind of we are the AI collectively. It already exists, just has a bandwidth issue. It just has a bandwidth issue.
Pay close attention to what he said there. What he said was that this interface already exists. It's just that they have to improve the bandwidth. They have bandwidth problems. So how might these bandwidth problems be improved? Well, in my 2012 film Transformation, I suggested this is going to be done through neural dust, through smart dust, and they were probably spraying this from the skies already. Well, have a look at this. Implantable neural dust. Precise wireless recording of nerve activity. These are the interfaces that they're talking about. He's even talking about being able to inject a vaccine into people, which would put a nanomesh over people's brains. And it's very interesting, folks. This is what they're talking about, an interface, a cortex interface, which will link your cortex directly up with the AI grid. How would that be achieved? And what if everybody doesn't want to do it? That's the question, because the neural dust that they're spraying everywhere, the smart dust, and smart dust is very, very dangerous stuff, folks. It can spy on your brain. There's been a lot of reports and a lot of studies that have come out regarding smart dust. And when you really look at this, folks, it appears that this whole AI grid that Ray Kurzweil and Elon Musk and everybody is talking about is simply being implemented without the knowledge of the people. But anyway, this smart dust is extremely dangerous stuff, folks, and there's a lot of people talking about it. There's a lot of people talking about how 5G is going to be doing a lot of really bad things. A lot of people talking about Tom Wheeler's speech, and a lot of people attempting to alert people to what is happening with this 5G grid. As I said, the real problem is that it uses a millimeter wave, and the millimeter waves are very much related to military projects. You've just got to go and search this for yourself. You're going to find a lot of information about millimeter waves, about 5G, and about military projects. But something else that is very interesting about this, and looking at the division in the independent media at the moment, mainly through the Flat Earth movement. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from flat earthers for saying this, but hey, I get a lot of flack from them anyway. But one might question why one of the main things the Flat Earth movement is promoting is the concept that there are no satellites. Because when you look at the 5G network that is being rolled out, it relies heavily on satellite communication. When you look at what they're planning, folks, they're virtually putting a fence around the entire Earth, like a space fence around the entire Earth, which is going to be active and involved in the 5G network. And it's about integrating it all together, the integration of satellites and 5G networks. And there's a lot of talk of this, folks, the convergence of both satellite and terrestrial communication. And there's a lot of satellite companies that are putting a lot of effort into this. As I said, ESA is involved and Euroscom is involved. And Euroscom is a security agency, folks. These are involved in cyber security. That's what they're all about. So you've got to look at where all this is going. Like I said, this is a massive surveillance grid they're putting in place. But there's all sorts of people talking about the need for this and what an important role satellites are going to play in the 5G network. Perhaps one of the things the Flat Earth movement is doing is attempting to shift people away from this reality and convince people that satellites do not exist. So therefore they're just not looking out for what this 5G network is going to be doing and what it's all about. But it's all about satellites, folks. It's all about clouds. The need for large-scale satellite and terrestrial 5G demonstrator supporting a broad range of applications. The need for a demonstrator. What is going to be the demonstrator is the question. At the moment, they're putting a lot of these 5G towers around Australia. I think they might even be going to use Australia as some sort of demonstration. And all this is being sold to the world as something really sexy, folks. Transhumanism, it's where we want to go. Look at it, you know. It's all promoted as being something good, something that's going to lead us forward, something that's going to prevent us dying, all sorts of stuff. You know, death is being presented as the enemy of transhumanism and all of this sort of stuff. But there's another really dark side to this as well. There really is. There's something that people aren't noticing, and that is the way we are gradually being led into this digital system. And you look at the Flat Earth movement, folks, and what it's done. All it's done is reduce people into a state of argument, and while they are arguing, this whole system is being rolled out underneath them. It's all being rolled out underneath everybody, and I'm beginning to believe that a lot of the reason a lot of this stuff happens, and a lot of the reason there are so many false flags, and they are made to look so obvious, and we're always fighting whether it was a false flag or it was a hoax or whether there were victims or whether there weren't. It's all irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And the problem is that while people are arguing, all this fighting and arguing about details of certain events and details of what shape the Earth is, all of it is distracting them from what is happening and what is being rolled out right beneath their feet. This 5G grid is being rolled out, and this whole machine society is coming online, and if people don't pay attention, if people continue to use their credit cards, if they continue to use their smartphones, in another 5 to 10 years from now, when all their cash is digitized, all their movements are tracked, all their thoughts are monitored, and everything they do is under surveillance, people are going to look up from their research and go, hang on a minute, how did I end up in this high-tech prison? And at that point, what can anyone do?
Imagine all the gamers, no scoping in peers and melody. You may say I'm a memer, that we frogs can all get fucked. Won't be compelled to join you, 'cause the Soviet Union fucking sucked. Imagine no possessions, they're taken by the thought police. No need for art or music, Big Brother as your altar piece. Imagine all the cuckolds equally starving gulags for you. You could say Jones is tripping. Hell, you're not entirely wrong. I hope to fuck, though, that the liberals